Hello, folks. We're back. It's Thursday night. I'm Buddy Martin. That means we have Orange and Blueblood Thursday here on the program. Our usual stunning lineup of guest leadoff man Ben Troupe, followed by Franz and Loren Meadows. Lots of good talk tonight about what is going on in Gainesville. Have you seen the media reports? Have you seen the press conferences? What is going on? Well, we'll address that tonight with Ben, with Franz and Loren right here on this network, The Buddy Martin Show. Stay tuned. Tell your friends and neighbors The Buddy Martin Show is now officially on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. Welcome to the program. I'm Buddy Martin. The show is heard 4 to 5 times a week right here on this network now, SEC Sidelines, along with Rob Brown, the voice. And glad to be back tonight. We've got a good show for you tonight because it's Orange and Blue Bloods Thursday. We're going to get down and dirty with what's going on in Gainesville. And by the way, what is going on in Gainesville? That's the question being asked by a lot of people. Thanks for joining the show tonight with me, and we'll try to make sense out of that. If you followed this week's show, there have been some very good ones, including Wednesday night's Sweet and Sour with Allie Pete Wilbur and David Moulton and Chris Doran. Very interesting conversation about things last night, the state of things in Gainesville. And it got a little more confusing after Billy Napier's press conference because, among others, Allie was really outspoken about some of the things that Napier said, like, did he really hire a new defensive coordinator or not? And he sort of missed his words on that. Allie's getting after him pretty good when he misses his words. So we'll talk about that. Some of the things happen. We don't want to be negative about this. As you all know, this is an upbeat show. We like to keep things positive when we can. Thank you for all of you folks stepping up tonight and joining on the show. The fact is that it's been a little difficult to find positive things sometimes. But one of the things about this program, when this guy comes on, it's never hard to find something good to talk about. He's always got something positive. He likes to preach, and he preaches good sermons. But I think even he is wondering what is going on in Gainesville after some of the comments, especially the parts about where, as Alex said, he instructed members of his staff, I'm not sure which ones, not to follow certain media members. It doesn't make sense. It sounds sort of, as I said, Third Reichian about the end of the reign of a dictator, and it just doesn't match up with Billy. And so, in fact, some people from the staff did drop media members, and Gallagher was one of them. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but the media is not your enemy, and we know that, and this guy knows it. He's always been a good friend. And now, a member of the media, my man, the myth, the legend, Ben Troupe. What's up, Benny?
What's going on with you tonight, buddy? What's going on, sir?
Got a new lid there, brother.
Hey, no, I done had it plenty of time, but I do got some new ones coming. Got some new colors coming. We'll see. But I mean, I want to touch on something you just said, buddy. That really rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
When a head coach, I don't care who it is, Billy Napier, it don't matter. When you start telling your staff to actively stop following people, to me, that's when one that lets you know they're doing their job. That's how you know they're doing their job. Number two, is it that serious? So the University of Florida, last time I checked, is the only school I think in FBS that doesn't have an offensive coordinator and doesn't have a defensive coordinator. Now, what's I don't know what's very, 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 very frustrating about it is, buddy. This Billy Napier said he was going to hire an offensive coordinator sometime last year, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Never happened, right? Leave him alone, get through the season, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm in a press conference and I'm saying, hey, Billy, who's going to be the D coordinator? That's not an answer. Because this is the thing, buddy. If this is any other school not named Florida, you think to yourself, man, what is going on? You're not outsmarting anybody. Now, something is going on behind the scenes that hasn't been revealed yet. It's gonna come out because why can't you get one? Yeah, you got an incredible, you went out there and got an incredible DB coach, love him, love who he's brought in, this, that, and the third, but who's gonna run the defense? We got two offensive coordinators or two
offensive linemen, offensive line coaches. Did not change that. Stayed with that. Sort of got a special teams guy, but didn't really, because the same guy's still ahead of him. And sort of got an executive head coach, which I've never heard of, who is now sort of running the defense. I don't know. I'm confused. There's a lot of blurred lines there. They tell you when you do an organizational table, when you do a big group, and they got a big group, you want to have clear lines of delineation. Who's responsible? Who reports to who? I mean, it gets confusing, man.
It is confusing, buddy, because the thing is, right? If we went to a department store and all we said was, can you show me your manager? And they said, well, what kind of manager? You go, the manager of the store. The manager of this store? Yes. Well, we don't really have managers. We have like co-managers. Mm-hmm. So they kind of manage each other. And you say, just get me a manager. Yeah. But two people walk out. Listen, two people walk out. And they go, we're both the managers. I say, well, who should I speak to? It just depends on what you ask. You're going to get so frustrated because you're saying, wait a minute. You know what simplifies football? When you actually, have the duties assigned to the, position you have, the title you have. It would be like this. Hey, man, I'm sitting here at the University of Florida. I'm looking for the head coach. They go, oh, there he is, Billy Napier. No. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the other guy. He gonna be like, what other guy? I'm the coach. Yeah, exactly. It's like make a decision because, buddy, when you start trying to do things that's never been done in sports, listen to me. This has never been done, right?
Right.
When you try to start doing stuff like that, it has people scratching their head. Number one, the biggest question is why? Like, what is going on? I'm gonna tell you what's going on, people. It's his word that gets people beat. It gets people fired. It's called loyalty. We hire each other. You probably hire people you've been on the staff. I mean, listen, shout out to Tyke Tolbert, my former tight ends coach. My junior year just got hired as a wide receiver coach for the Tennessee Titans under Rand Carthone. Yeah. Great coach. But here's the thing. But listen, Rand Carthone did not hire Tyke Tolbert because he didn't hire Tyke Tolbert because he knows Tyke. Tyke might be the best wide receiver coach in football. I mean, you just look at the track record. But, buddy, so you just hired a special teams coach from the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. But he's falling under the other guy. So let me get this straight. You hire me. My position says special teams coach just to get in the building. And you're going to let him fall under the guy we've had? That's confusing. Then you got two. So what? You got two offensive line coach. What? So one coach the left side.
You done nothing. You're some add a layer.
But I will say this: if, and I think it's ridiculous, if you are one of the media outlets who was quote told by Billy Napier to tell his staff to not unfollow you or not, that's ridiculous. Because let me tell you what that does. That means that whomever is writing about Florida, who I guess get to ask questions or who are recognized, you only respect favorable coverage. That's ridiculous. Because here's the thing: favorable coverage is subjective, isn't it? I mean, so that means you deem what is and isn't favorable. Well, here's a thought. You know who's gets scrutinized the most in sports? The coaches who win the most. See, we think, the coaches that win a bunch of games, they don't get they get scrutinized more than the ones, right, that's trying to get up to that level. So you telling me if you have an incredible 2024, you think that the media is gonna get it's gonna come from all. But I will say this: when it comes to the people who are loyal to the University of Florida, who have been covering Florida well before Billy Napier even thought about coaching, well before I even thought about playing, and you trying to shun them? Come on, man! Like I have a big problem with that because it just sounds like if I'm up in there giving you the softball questions, the pat on the back question, that's not media. That's you can get. I mean, you know how many, but you know how many podcasts out there now that all they want to do is, love up on people. That's not the media. Listen, let me say this. I have a podcast, but guess what? I don't consider that media. I'm a part of the media, yes. But when I'm on there talking to current, future, and former Florida Gators, I'm just trying to get y'all to, see who these people are away from the sport. When I'm on sidelines, I'm an analyst. When I'm on there with Rob Brown, I'm on here with Buddy Martin. Nobody, yes, I want Florida to win, but I'm gonna tell the truth. When did telling the truth become? We can't do that. What did you just ask me? I just asked you why the hell you ain't got no defensive coordinator. What? Why? Not. I didn't say you're gonna get one. I'm asking why you don't have one. It is February. You don't have offense. You don't have a. And buddy, like I said, holding coach's feet to the fire, that's media. Because it's like this. If I'm currently at Florida and I had a bad game, when Buddy Martin asked me a hard question or Franz Beard asked me a hard question, you only asking me that because you know I can answer it. He can answer it, just ask him. Right? But when you pull me to the side, when we walking out and you saying, hey man, look, I appreciate, you answering them questions from you letting me know, look, I know it. I know it was a hard question to ask, a hard question to answer, but I'm preparing you for where you headed. I'm preparing you because if you can't handle this and you trying to go to the next level, well, if you are Billy Napier, it will not get greater than Florida. I don't care where you go. I don't care. I hope you still at Florida, but I don't care where you end up. The media at the University of Florida, I can say this, is fair. They firm, but they fair because I'm gonna ask you the softball questions, man, when it's time. But you went through an entire recruiting cycle. You got transfers in here. You got legacy players in here. You got the number one quarterback and player in the country, and you don't have an offensive coordinator. You do not have an offensive coordinator.
And he had no intention. He never had intended to get one. That's what it tells me.
Buddy, we know this, right? And we know this, right? We know that offensive coordinators in some of these colleges have the title, but they don't call plays. Pick an offensive coordinator.
Rob Sales one.
But I'm gonna tell you why that happens though. If I don't have an official offensive coordinator and I start calling plays and they don't work, there's nobody to defer to. See, there ain't nobody but me. But that sink or swim mentality, and yes, I played with the greatest play caller I've ever had the pleasure of playing with, and Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier said, if my plays don't work, I got other plays. And let me tell you what Steve Spurrier also said. I'm going to take the hits. If we ain't performing on offense, I will take the hits. I'm not going to blame nobody. Listen, I was with the Buccaneers when they had John Gruden. John Gruden was the offensive coordinator. Now, it's another guy that had OC by his name, but we know John Gruden will call the plays. But I just think, buddy, for me, it just really, really a head scratcher that he gonna literally say, don't follow certain people. Are you like really? That's what we. Okay, you don't follow them, right? So I guess if we don't follow them, and I don't have the success I want, is it the media's fault? No.
Well, that's the thing. You're getting to the point where you're starting. Now, here's what's bothering me. As you know, and I'm not going to go deep into history here, but this has been a way it's been in Florida since I could have been, since the beginning of time. And the media always showed up, and the media always asked tough questions.
Yes.
It's like being in a fishbowl in Gainesville. There is no place to run and hide. You can't go to a small town and not take the answer phone call. You got to face a barrage of media, at one time the largest in the country, and they don't mess around. You can't hide from them.
No.
And so if you think you can trick them or try to be like Nick Saban and just filibuster, eventually it's going to catch up to you. You better have some answers or they will not go away. At your doorstep, they'll be there every day asking, how come you didn't hire an offensive coordinator? And I don't know what Billy thinks, whether he thinks he's in, I hate to say the Sun Belt Conference again, nothing against them, but you can't do that here. And
No.
Alec Peak Wilbur made a great comment last night. She's exactly right. He fired his strength and conditioning coach. All right. He said we didn't really fire him. He moved him upstairs to a position where he's in charge of motivation. What? I mean, if he was that good at it, why did he take him out of being strength? I mean, obviously we know he made a mistake. The question that must be asked now, did he underestimate how physical you had to be in the SEC, and how come his offensive coordinator, his strength and conditioning coach, couldn't get guys strong enough? Well, he made a mistake. He made a misjudgment. Own it and move on. And so I think maybe that raises the question, and legitimately so, was Billy ready for this job? I mean, I'm just saying you have to ask that, don't you?
Yeah, you know but that's legitimate. That's legitimate. That's going to be legitimate, right? For two reasons. One, the product on the field, right, shows some glimpses. It shows some promise, but it shows more inconsistency than anything. And that's not pointing at that's pointing at the whole team, not one side of the ball over the other side of the ball. Now, your first year here, you had Anthony Richardson. So I kind of had a scapegoat. I had a guy that's so polarizing that I could kind of say, well, we don't play well, it's because of this, it's because of that. We get it. But then, buddy, you start talking about the personnel. You know, you talk about coach, you talk about your DB coach, you talk about your D-line coach, Coach Chaos, Coach. It didn't work. And listen, and the most glaring positions that didn't produce the way we thought was the DBs and the D-line. So you got to move on from that. When's the last time you went on anybody's roster in college football, whether it's FBS, FCS, NAIA, HBCU, Division II, Division III, and they have a motivation coach? That's not even real.
No.
If I need motivation and I'm at the University of Florida, I'm at the wrong place. No. I take it a step further. If I'm in college football and I need motivation at this point, I'm doing the wrong thing. Because when you say that out loud, when you say, no, I didn't fire him, I moved him upstairs, that's called firing him.
No.
He don't work upstairs.
No.
He's a strength coach. A strength coach should only know what upstairs look like because he got to go to the staff meeting. He shouldn't even know what upstairs. I work downstairs. And I think the thing about it is, buddy, when he says that out loud, you know what the media does? They go, who you think you talking to? Like, did you just say that, guys?
No.
Did you just tell me?
Yeah.
I didn't fire him. I moved him upstairs. What's his title now? They need a motivation. Who?
Yeah.
Them 85 guys on the scholarship? Yeah. I said, Coach, listen to me. Don't say that to nobody else. Don't say that to nobody else. And guess what? Let me get this straight. You got time to hire motivation coaches and you don't have an OC or a DC? That makes no sense. And when the ex-strength coach goes home and tells his wife, listen, I'm no longer the strength coach, but I'm the motivation coach now. She say, oh, so they ain't got no strength coach no more? No, they got a strength coach. It just ain't me. Like, what?
Oh, my goodness.
You know what I'm saying? I just think, buddy, it's crazy. I think with Billy Napier, though, he's doing, buddy, what you hope he didn't do. And you know what he's doing? And people, you can get mad at me. He is panicking.
He's circling the wagons. He's circling the wagons.
He is panicking for everybody. He is panicking for everybody to see. And I think the thing about it is, I go, you making life hard. Think about this. DJ Lagway still came to Florida. When everybody thought, man, with NIL, you ain't going to be able to afford him. And I know they got the Rashada situation hanging over Florida right now and all the kind. He still came, right? He still came. McCray kid, he still came. So you got two top five 5 stars that still came. And obviously you got Miles Graham. You got a bunch of great players to fill it out.
Yeah.
And DJ Lagway Sr., his daddy, looked you in the face and said, my son is coming. Mm-hmm. Who's the OC? He said, who's the OC? And you had to say, well, no. Then Ernest Graham, the father of Miles Graham, his position coach, he moved on to Texas A&M, get a defensive coordinator job. Nobody's mad at him, right? Nobody's mad at him. Problem is, you don't have a DC. See, the thing about it is, buddy, if young Buddy Martin is coming out, he just got out of journalism school and he want to be a journalist. Somebody say, buddy, we finna bring you on to, WRUF, right? We finna bring you on to be our sports and information director department. You go, okay. And you get in there and they want you to write about the weather. You're going to be like, wait. And to me, and mind you, listen, let me tell you something. When I'm in the media, you know what I appreciate? I appreciate honesty. I can appreciate when somebody says, hey, Ben, what's going on with your Gators? Because it's the thing, right? This is the thing. Hey, Ben, listen, we're going to have you show up to this event, right? And we're going to present you with this award. The award is bogus. It's not even a real thing. But we want you to go up there and wave and smile. Why? Because somebody said we got to give them something. Well, what did you call it? It's just called a BS award because it's BS. It don't really mean anything. Buddy, listen, I hope something happens. I hope something changes dramatically, right? Because let me tell you something. If you are Scott Strickland, if you are those 85 scholarship guys and those walk-on guys, if you are some of those coaches on the staff like Mike P. and company, you ain't going to say nothing. But when you get home, you telling your wife, you telling your girlfriend, you telling your friends, stop asking me. I don't know because I've never been on a team that has a motivation coach that used to be a strength coach, 2 offensive line coaches. I don't know why you need 2, and no offensive coordinator, no defensive coordinator, and a coach that is telling people to don't follow certain people.
Well, that's all. You're right. You're spot on. I just wanted to add this in before I play the commercial. I'm trying not to go down this rabbit hole because I want the Gators to win, and you want the Gators to win.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, Allie wants them to win, and Chris Story. But the bottom line is, you got to show up, and you cannot. If Billy Napier says, I got $1 million, buddy, tell me how to spend it and what to do on media. One of the things I'd say do not ever do is try to intimidate the media or trying to unfollow certain people. You won't win that battle. It's the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the end when that happens. It's Richard Nixon in the White House barking and talking to pictures, He knows he's lost his way, and he now has nobody else to blame but himself. He's shuffling like they say, the old cliche, he's shuffling the chairs on the deck of the Titanic, instead of doing the things which we thought he'd do, as the guy came in saying, "Scary money don't make money." Sounded really bold. He's gone the other way. He's gone indecisive. He's starting to. He's still got a chance. You know what you need to do though. But you know what he got to do now, buddy? Listen, okay. You gotta win.
Okay. No, that's what he got to do. But he also got to do this. Kadarius Toney. Our own Kadarius Toney said Kadarius Toney didn't play in the AFC Championship game. First round draft pick Kadarius Toney not playing the AFC Championship game, and he did a TikTok talking trash about Kansas City. Now he did it in the dark, so you couldn't see him; you could only hear his voice. You know what he did after that? He came out and did what any respectful professional athlete would do. He said he got hacked. That was not him. He got hacked, right? Now, was it him? Probably. But do he want to play in the Super Bowl? Absolutely. And do he want to have a career after this game? Mm-hmm. Yes. So he did what you're supposed to do, and he did. I said, look, man, let me do damage control. Billy Napier, listen to me. You need to come out and say, I misspoke. What I said about the media was taken out of context. You know why? Because you're in a high-ranking position and people are going to forgive you because they have to, not because they want to. Come out and say, listen, I'm going to get a D coordinator. I'm going to get an O coordinator. But what I said about the media, let me rephrase. I apologize if my words got misconstrued, even though I don't know how the hell we misconstrued them. You said it.
Yeah.
But when you are high ranked, because, buddy, let me tell you something. All Billy Napier got to get his point across, to get his voice out to the people is y'all. It's the media.
You
And
use it to your advantage. You use it to your advantage. You don't. You're trying. I heard today Rob Brown's show with Brendan and one of the guys that works in athletic administration, and he says you're always trying to build up equity. You want goodwill in the bank.
Yes.
You try to. You don't have to kiss their butts, but you want to have some money in the bank when the times hit you and you need help. And when you do things like telling your staff to unfollow certain media members because you don't like what they're saying or tweeting or whatever, you're not building up goodwill. You're starting a divisive line that if you keep going, you're going to end up on the wrong road.
A grown man, listen, a grown man telling other grown men, unfollow people. What? Here's the thought. Why do I got to unfollow them? I'm not even talking to them. They just, because here's the thought, right? Oh, I get it. You know how like people get mad at players because they say players, they ain't built how they used to be and they can't take no criticism. Who you think they learned that from? Where you think players get it from?
Coaches.
See, and here's the thing. Like this, buddy, like this. Brendan's walking around Gainesville or wherever he is. And somebody say, Brendan Martin, yeah. You Buddy Martin's kid, yeah. Because so as soon as they know that's your son, they already saying, well, I know how he built because I know his daddy, right? I know how his dad is, right? What I'm saying is when it comes to Florida, right, I'm going to say this again. Until we get an identity, we are in an identity crisis. Until we get one, which is what.
That's a very good point.
Because and the reason why I say it is, buddy, Steve Spurrier, he coached pre social media and during social media. He did both. Did his coaching style change? Nope. He was a media darling when nobody heard what he said but the Gainesville media, till he went to the national media. When he was in Gainesville, when he was in Duke, when he was in Columbia. And the thing is, because he goes, bro, as long as I'm winning, I can say what I want. See, here's the thought. People tolerated guys like Bill Belichick, who's the greatest filibuster of all time.
Yeah.
But I'm also the greatest winner of all time.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the thing about Billy is Billy doesn't understand this. Dude, they asking you questions to stay away from the obvious. I'm asking you, just because I'm asking you about your DC and OC, those are softball questions. Because you don't want us to get to asking about this roster turnover. You don't want to get to asking us about, the lack of production, the blame that's going around and all that. Because at the end of the day, you are the head coach of the University of Florida. You are the most famous coach in the state.
Yeah.
More than McDaniels, more than Doug, more than Peterson, more than Bowles, right? More than Norvell, more than Gus Malzahn. I mean, all of them, right? And here's the thought. You telling people to block people? Come on. That's really
bad.
That's a soundbite we got.
Yeah.
We got to do better than that, man.
Stand by 1 second. Let's hear from Meldon Law. I called Jeffrey and I had a problem and I'm working on it, but here's Meldon Law back with he and Franz Beard, and let's see what Franz says. How could you possibly be thinking about blocking certain people on the media? That is the wrong way, Billy. Stand by. Jeffrey Meldon. Jeffrey, you do a show where you ask a lot of questions. I've got one for you right now, okay, regarding how do you know whether your case is being handled right and what to do about it. In medicine, you can get a second opinion if you're not satisfied with the doctor's opinion. And do you have that in law? Can you do that with lawyers?
Yeah, buddy. As a matter of fact, we get quite a few calls from folks that have signed up, particularly with the big box law firms that they do a hell of a good job of putting ads on TV. But after that, they don't really measure up to the way we try to create a client experience that's outstanding. And we're always willing to review a case and give a second opinion, just like with a doctor, because not all law firms are created equal.
I guess that's the normal thing. Just go to Meldon Law, Google it, and find out, and just give them a call. And like you say, if you come in, you get to see a Meldon. you'll get shuffled off to somebody else. You get to see it, Melvin, and that's good to know because a lot of people don't know how to do that stuff, like me, and maybe you can coach us through. So, Melvin Law, they won't back down. They will take your questions about your case if you have a question.
Yes, whether it's a new case or an existing case, give us a call. We'd be glad to go over it with you. There's no charge to review your case with you, and a lot of times it makes good sense just to get a second opinion.
Good stuff from Melvin Law. They don't back down, but they will give you a second opinion. All right, welcome back. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. I had to do a little talking to the executive producer about the setting. Ben Troupe is here. We're having a really interesting conversation about how Billy Napier is responding recently. It's almost like he's gotten into a little bit of a down cycle, or he's sort of trying to run and hide. He's not. Well, let's talk to Franz. He was there at the press conference yesterday. Here's what I want to say about that. Just because you say a lot of words about something doesn't answer a question. You can get in that filibuster zone. In fact, I was talking to somebody today, well-known person, who talked about Nick Saban, how he just talked around everything and is buried in a bunch of data and never answered it. And it feels like that's what's happening. Here's a guy who has seen almost every press conference and been there, participated, and asked the first question yesterday. Let's get his ruling from Franz on this, leading to the Iron Duke himself, Franz Beer. Evening, Francis.
Good evening, guys. How's Savannah, Benjamin?
Oh, it is good. Just dealing with some of these saying nasty. Like I said, they are spawns of the devil. But I'm doing my best to try to figure out how to kill them. Haven't figured it out yet. But the best way to kill them is to stay away from them. If they over here, you just go over there. If they go over there, just go in the house because ain't no dealing with these things, man.
Hey, by the way, before we get started, I do want to say one thing. Claude Felton has retired up at Georgia.
Yes.
The greatest sports information director in history, bar none. My friend and absolutely one of the most genuine human beings of all time, and it's the times are changing. We're getting old ain't for sissies. But anyway, to get back to what Buddy was saying, Billy was Billy. He came out. I do give him credit for one thing. The 3-day growth of beard is gone. I don't know how he maintained a constant 3-day growth, but he maintained a constant 3-day growth. That's gone. He came out clean shaven, but he was Billy. Says a lot of words. Doesn't say. Don't expect tremendous amount.
Words, yeah.
Don't expect tremendous substance. You got to pick and choose out of what he says, what counts. And he had a few things that counted yesterday. I give him credit. He was there for 33 minutes, which is about 18 minutes longer than usual. Some people can say he ducked questions. He doesn't. He doesn't duck questions. He just doesn't answer them. And he gave that. But, two critical things out of this whole thing. He said, it took us 18 months to get it to where we know what we're doing, building this thing. When you integrate the portal, NIL, the Florida expectations, all these other things, roster management, the roster that he inherited, all these things go into what he inherited and what he's had to do to get the program to where it is. He said, I like this team we've got. And now, with that being said, and both you guys have heard me say it, Florida could be an exponentially better team in 2024 than they were in 2023 and finish with a similar or possibly barely better record or even a losing record. Again, it's possible that they could, because the schedule is that brutal, they could, that could happen, guys. But, you know, at some point in time, you got to expect that the corner gets turned. And he certainly has got personnel now that has experience. I give him credit for addressing all three layers of the defense. He's got his defensive line set now. He's brought in the edge rusher. This kid, George Gums, I am told, is just absolutely quick. He's going to remind some people, I've been told by some people who've seen, he's going to remind some people of the late, great Alonzo Johnson, who passed away, by the way, about a week or so ago. Sad, sad day. Guy with so much talent who lived most of his life on the street. Died homeless, so I'm told. One of the greatest linebackers we've ever had. But I'm looking back at all this stuff and the press conference. I've reread everything he said 2 or 3 times, and Buddy, I'm convinced that he really does have a better team than he had, simply because he brought in Ron Roberts. He's revamped his defensive staff. The recruiting picked up with both of these guys. I'm convinced they don't get DeAndre Robinson to flip from Texas without Chapman. We don't get Grimsley without Will Harris. He's addressed all three layers of the defense, and you've been in the NFL. You can have the greatest defensive line and the greatest secondary in the world, but if your linebackers can't tackle anybody, you're going to lose the ball games. You can have the greatest D line and the greatest linebackers, and if your secondary can't cover, you're going to lose ball games. You got to have all three in sync, and I think that for the first time, that's possible. And I think Ron Roberts is going to be the kind of the glue on that end that's going to kind of hold it all together. The offense, as we've said, I think the offense is fine. It scored enough points. You're getting 30 points a game. You ought to win ball games.
All right, that's fair enough. And let me stop you right there and say we want to be fair and balanced here. We want to give people the benefit of the doubt. The fact is that what we're hearing, what we're seeing, don't always match up. Let me just say this on a positive note. Wrapping up the National Signing Day, which is hard to do since they didn't sign a single person, but that's just the way things are going these days. They wound up 10th in the country on On3, 10th on ESPN, 14th on 247, 15th on Rivals. All things considered, they of course get the best quarterback in the country, and of course the best defensive player in the country, LJ and DJ. There's got to be a song there somewhere. LJ and DJ. And so we can spin it that way. Now, having said that, there's a disconnect someplace here. That even the positive people, and I mentioned this last night to Allie and to Chris Doring, and there's media people who are not homers, but they want the Gators to win. They're not afraid to say they look bad, be objective. And last night we had 3 of them on, and we all said we're kind of confused about what to think here. And the worst thing he could ever have done, Franz, was tell their staff to stop following certain members of the media, which came out yesterday from Allie. That they did. A couple of them stopped following Allie. This is not a war against the media, and if he's going that route, he's going to a rabbit hole. And people are trying to stay positive, but we haven't got much to go on. The news today is, by the way, somebody just posted it, that Billy said he'll be calling plays. He's not going to have an offensive coordinator. All right, whatever that is, he'll go down with the show. He is very stubborn, as someone says, like Mullen in that regard. So, I mean, look, we got to see something. Never mind the talking. I mean, you think about the amazing amount of resources. Roll back the clock 2 years ago. Oh, we're getting a new facility. Got to get a new facility. Got one. Got a great one, right? Got to get a new coach and new staff people, budget for recruiting, hundreds of coaches. I mean, he's gotten everything he's asked for. And yet, as someone said, and actually Ali, what was he thinking when he hired the wrong strength conditioning coach? Because he clearly did, because they weren't strong enough last year. That means he must have underestimated how tough it was in the SEC, although he coached in Alabama. So something is disconnecting it. Like Ben and I said earlier, when you make a decision, don't hide behind it. Don't move papers around on your desk and say, you did something. When really what you're doing is you haven't changed much of anything. The defensive staff, yes, but they hired a new defensive coordinator, which wound up costing him 2 or 3 coaches. And now they've got another guy who's over him, but he's not a defensive coordinator. There's no direct line of organizational chart. So those are the things that are bothersome. I don't want to be negative here, but I'm saying it is what it is. So let's do this. Let's go get our buddy Loren Meadows. I'll give Ben a chance to react to some things that you said. Let's hear what Loren's got to say, and we'll go from here. Stand by for a second while I also tell you. Well, I can't. My copy's on the floor. Hold on. Okay. We pause to get the copy off the floor and tell you about Tighten MRI. Tighten MRI is a good thing happening to your life right now if you live in North Central Florida. It's worth the short drive to Gainesville. You have no insurance. It's not a problem. You can pay with cash or card with same-day scheduling. How about that? Check it out. You can start feeling good today about things like this because Tighten MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Come see what hundreds of patients are visiting our Gainesville location from Ocala, Marion County, Dunellen, all over the villages. That's TightenMRI.com. Now to the Orange and Blue room. Let's talk to the coach himself. How you doing, buddy?
How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Another day in paradise.
Well, Ben, it's your turn to respond to what Franz said, and then we'll let Loren pick it up. Talk about the latest news of things that are coming out of Gainesville. It's somewhat confusing. Franz has a little bit of a different view on it, but Ben, go ahead.
I think what Franz said about, Billy's being Billy, I get it. But I think Billy is making life harder on themselves based off the fact that with so much access to coaches now, he's going to be the most high-profile coach because he is the most high-profile coach in the state. So when it comes to Billy, and look, if you don't have a D coordinator or if you got a D coordinator, he got to answer this guy. You got a special team coach, but he got the answer to the old guy. You take the old strength and conditioning coach. He's the motivation coach now. I don't even know what that is. You making life hard on yourself, and I get it. When it comes to Florida, everything is going to be magnified. I don't care good, bad, right, wrong, indifferent. But if you are actively telling coaches to unfollow certain media members, I ain't never heard that. That's the kind of stuff that you say in private that shouldn't leak in public. If you did say it, we shouldn't have known about it. And I just think that, yeah, you still got Lagway, you still got McCray, you still got some big-time players up in there. You still got Mertz and company. But I think the thing about, Billy Napier is understanding the fact that, dude, you can't hide. Like, I know he understands this. You cannot hide. Everything you do, everything is going to be highly scrutinized. And, I'm not this. Listen, yes, I'm blessed to be a part of the media. I'm not in these press rooms. I'm not in these press conferences. But people always say, man, Allie Peak, she asked him some hard questions, not what she can really ask. If you think what she asked him was hard, you know what she could ask for real? You really want to get mad? I can start talking about this roster turnover. I can start talking about, the lack of production on the field these last couple of years. But I'm just asking you about the obvious. Never in the history of college football has a team gone into the season with 2 offensive line coaches, no offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator who's not the real defensive coordinator. We be talking about strength coaches who are not motivation. Steve Spurrier's down the hall saying no comment. Don't ask me because I've never seen anything like it. So, Loren, maybe you know something I don't, but I think the one thing I said before you guys came on is, and I could just be, jumping the gun, but if a coach panics, I shouldn't be able to tell. Like if a coach is panicking, I shouldn't be able to tell. Somebody say, he's panicking, right? I'm not saying that's what Billy Napier doing, but your job is to answer questions. Win games on Saturday, answer questions Monday through Friday. You should be the best at it. A head coach. So like I said, I'm far removed from it. I remember on my podcast when it was a bunch of turnover in 2022, I was told not to talk about the firings or the new. I said, well, I don't know anything about it. Like I interview the players. Why would I ask a player, tell us about the firings? I'm not going to put him or her in that type of position. But the fact that
they shouldn't be telling you what to ask either. They shouldn't be.
But at the same time, I got enough, media savvy to know I'm here to paint these people in the best light I possibly can if they're coming on my show, because I know you watching. So as soon as I say, hey man, what's going on with the OCDC to a 19-year-old, as soon as he going to say something that he don't know he's not supposed to say. I'm not going to do. I got interviewed when I was 21. It took me 4 years to learn how to stand in front of friends and buddies. And I don't even know how I did then. It's like you ain't gonna just throw a person out there. So I just think that with Billy, man, look, you gonna give me what? I don't know, 15 minutes a day, whatever it is. Man, have fun with it. It's like, look, you gonna still be the head coach of Florida. You still ain't got no OC. You still ain't got no DC. And you mad. And I don't get that. I don't get how every college football team that play football has an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, but one. And that's crazy. That's the part I just have the biggest problem with, is saying, sure. I get if I'm at school X and we just don't have the funds in our athletic department, you'll never hear that at Florida. That's not even allowed. The reputation of Florida is not allowed to not have funds. But once again, it's a bunch of coaches that have offensive coordinators that still call the plays, but they have an OC. They still got one. Yeah. We don't have one. I don't know why, but yeah, DJ Lagway Senior.
Coach, that's why. Yeah.
DJ Lagway Senior, DJ Lagway Jr. and Senior still. His son still came. Thank God he did. Miles Graham, Daddy Ernest Graham, former teammate, had a his linebackers coach moved on to Texas A&M to get the defensive coordinator job, and they still don't have a DC, and he still came. Yeah. I'm telling you. The stuff that's supposed to happen, it's like this. If I'm in the huddle and the quarterback calls the play wrong, he calls it wrong. I've heard the play so much, I know what he meant. Why? The worst thing I could do is come out that huddle with my hands in the air telling the quarterback, what are you doing? I would never do that. You see, guys, the goal is to make him look good when we come out the huddle. We'll find a way to get lined up. Right. But if I'm jumping –
let Loren jump in here just and just put a couple of thoughts in it. Your thoughts, about Billy telling apparently certain staffers not to follow certain media members.
So yeah, I must have been absolved from that because I just checked my followers on Instagram. Bree Wade and Katie still follow your old boy Loren. So I guess I was I was safe.
I was too, but apparently the fact that he told him to do it is a little scary,
It is. I mean, it's getting into a realm of making things extremely personal, and at this level, that shouldn't be the case. For the staff things, I mean, I told people weeks ago there wouldn't be an offensive coordinator strolling through the door. I told him months ago when he supposedly said that week 5, I said there's absolutely no way he truly told somebody that. But it just sounds like somebody with no plan. And what I mean by that is if Rob Sale is the offensive coordinator, you're going to call the plays, then definitively say that. Let people know what Rob Sale does throughout the week to help with the offensive game plan, and then go with it. If Ron Roberts is not the defensive coordinator and Austin Armstrong is, then you come out and say Ron Roberts is going to be, Austin Armstrong's right-hand man. They know each other extremely well. They're going to sit down. They're going to make the game plan. And then we're going to go from there and say that everybody has a role in what we do. Everybody has a role in special teams. But just say that. And if you say that, whether it's good or bad, then people have the ability to judge whether your play calling is good or bad, whether the defensive play calling is good or bad. But being Franz, buddy, you all know this. Here's the thing about defense. It ain't but 4 or 5 coverages that you can call. And like Franz said, it don't matter what you playing, you got to make it legal to cover somebody. So they could line up in anything. Me and Franz could call defense, but if they ain't gonna knock the ball down when it's in the air or make a tackle in the open field on 3rd and 7, then it doesn't matter. So I think that's the thing that I think, walking it back and maybe giving Billy a pass, even though I've been hardest on him, when it comes to football staffs and game plans and what happens in the 4 quarters, it's a group effort. Everybody is involved. Very rarely, I mean, they broke the mold when they made Steve Spurrier, where you got one guy making all the calls and he just dialing them up. Those are few and far between, So I think the big thing is just have a plan, address your plan, and don't keep people in the dark, And as far as like I said, going back to the not following people, that's just personal, and it should never be personal. You're at a level where you deserve to be scrutinized. They pay you enough money to be scrutinized. You're coaching at a high level. You should be scrutinized. Step to the podium, act like a big boy, answer the questions, and go on from there. But to tell your staff who they can't follow for whatever reason to make it what might be personal, that's bush league in my opinion.
It's also scary. No. All right, so I'm going to change the subject just a moment here quickly, and I'll let Franz react to that a little bit. But I want to tell you guys about something to celebrate some things of our past. 54 years ago today, this happened. An LSU basketball player scored. Hold on, I got it here in front of me. Hold on. I wrote it down for the big moment. I don't have it on my screen. Here, 54 years ago today, LSU basketball player scored 69 points in a game without the 3-point play and the shot clock. Anybody want to guess who it is?
Broughton High School's own Pete Maravich.
Pistol Pete. Yeah.
In the same game, Dan Issel had 53, Mike Pratt had 42, and Mike Casey had 21. All in the same game.
Pratt, the pride of Meadowdale High School, my alma mater, Mike Pratt.
Mike was one of my buddies. Pete, let me divert for a moment about Pete. I got to know Pete well because his high school history teacher was Lou Bello, the famous basketball referee. And through Lou and Lou's son, Jerry, who was Pete's best friend, I got to know Pete quite well. The most amazing thing about him, he only had 2 of the 4 chambers of his heart working his entire life. Can you imagine what could have happened if he'd had a fully functional heart and lungs, and he did not ever have that? Dale Brown took every game he played and filmed and had a computer guy from LSU impose a 3-point line. Do you know what Pete would have averaged had there been a 3-point shot in those days? Take a guess.
7 almost a game or something like that.
59.5 points a game. And this was Secretariat having to play with 4 donkeys. We go Florida Jim, his junior year.
That was there.
He gets a steal. The ball never touches his left hand, comes off the dribble on his right hand, and it is spinning on his finger. He's up in the air.
Right.
He flips it and headed it in for a layup.
Yeah. His father, Press, I had a rare opportunity to spend an evening with him in a meeting in Tampa, St. Pete of Florida Sports Writers. where he was the guest, and Pete was only 15 or 16 then. And he told me all about his son. And he said he's good enough to play for the Harlem Globetrotters wanted to play for them. The things he can do with the basketball, he talked about that shot. He can spin it like that and do all kind of trick shots. The guy was a great player, but he was a maestro. He had moves and things that you didn't see anywhere. What a phenomenal talent he was. And if you miss seeing him play, go to YouTube and look it up. You won't believe some of the things he does. And never mind leaping out of the gym and making plays like that and knocking down shots that would have been free points. He could do tricks. He was a white globetrotter, wasn't he, Franz?
Oh, absolutely. The Hawks trained in Savannah a couple of years. And the year that Julius Erving tried to bolt from the New York Nets to the Virginia Squires, he ends up with the New York Nets. But from the ABA to the NBA, he's there with the Hawks. And Julius put on weight later on, but he had very narrow shoulders, okay? And he's got an afro that is literally wider than his shoulders. And they come down on fast breaks, which was funny because Pete does all these things with the ball. He's got Lou Hudson on one side, who's a Hall of Famer. And he's got and one of Pete's buddies, because Lou was a North Carolina guy also, from Dudley High School in Greensboro, went to school at the University of Minnesota. But here comes Dr. J, and his hair goes down, and you hear it, boom, boom, whoosh, out like this. And it was, and Pete, first time that happened, Pete Maravich is going down there and literally just stops on a dime. He says, "Do the hair thing."
I'll be done in 5 minutes.
It was oh gosh, funny stuff.
Yeah.
But the greatest basketball player of my lifetime in college basketball.
Yeah.
Pete Maravich.
Yes. All right. So let's take our last 3 minutes.
He's from Aliquippa, PA. Pete Maravich.
Originally.
What is going on? What is going on with Aliquippa? Ain't that where like Darrell Revis and like Tyler and all them from? What is going on at Aliquippa, man? Like, what is going on with all these? Oh my God!
Press's dad was a coal miner. And Press played basketball, and that's how he escaped the coal mines. He becomes a basketball coach, and he has this incredible son named Pete, who could do things with a basketball that nobody has before or since, and I doubt ever will. My gosh, 4,400 points he scored in his college career, and he only played 3 years. And he never got to go to the NCAA tournament. They made it to the NIT his senior year. That was it.
Basketball was not what it is today. And I remember the athletic director of LSU, Corbin was his name. And he said once they started getting Pete and getting crowds there, he said, "My goal is to die in life by being stampeded by a basketball crowd going to see Maravich play." You know, and he was just, basketball, they were drawing 4,000 and 5,000 people then. Anyway, guys, we got about 60 seconds here. Maybe we'll stretch it to 90. It's Super Bowl week. We forgot about that. We don't talk much about it here. But if you have anything to chime in on, albeit Kelsey, whatever, Swifty, or if you want to talk about the proposition bits or who you like to win, your thoughts on the Super Bowl, starting with Loren. Give me your thoughts. You have any hunches? Any thoughts? Who are you cheering for?
Obviously, I'm with my connection to both the Kelsey's high school football coach is my best friend. So having known Travis since high school, I'm definitely a Chiefs guy. I could care less. They can show Taylor Swift as much as they want or as little as they want. As long as they put the camera on the football field when they snap the ball, that's all I care about. So,
why y'all are so mean about her? She's fantastic.
I agree.
Unbelievable 3-hour program. She's a billionaire.
That's what I'm
She's
saying.
written unbelievable songs. I mean,
no. I'm with her. I'm with you, buddy. I'm a Swiftie. That's what I'm saying. I I mean, that's like the people that get mad about the Super Bowls. I mean, the commercials during the Super Bowl. If you're a football fan, it's about the football. I mean, the rest of it don't really matter. So, I'm with the Swifties. Go Travis Kelce. Go Chiefs. My homeboy takes home the MVP, and there we go.
I believe Ben's a 49er guy.
I was a 49er guy growing up. I mean, when they had Jerry Rice, when they had, Joe Montana and Steve Young. But it's the thing, right? There are certain guys that come along, right, that make it bad for everybody. Tom Brady made life bad for everybody because he said, either you had to beat me to get to the Super Bowl or you had to beat me in the Super Bowl. And that was, last time I checked, Nick Foles and Eli Manning, the only two could say they ever did that. The thing about Patrick Mahomes is this. Every time they need him to make a play, they make a play. Every time they need him to do it. And he keeps you honest, right? He ain't saying, he said, look, I ain't athletic like Lamar Jackson. I can't throw the ball as far as Josh Allen, but they can't beat me. Brock Purdy has been, outside of Patrick Mahomes, has been the greatest story we've seen in 2 years at quarterback. This boy was Mr. Irrelevant, and he's in the Super Bowl. Year 2, he got knocked out in the NFC Championship game. Year 1, but guess what? As my daddy would say, Cinderella is a movie. That's not real life, people. I like what I like. I think that when you look at the best team is the 49ers. The best player in the world, he plays for Kansas City. You're gonna have to show me you can beat him. And plus, I hope it's not the case. But people always say, "Hey man, what you want to do when you grow up?" I want to be a football player. No, you want to marry Taylor Swift, and that's what Travis Kelce. That's what Travis Kelce gonna. I think Travis Kelce is gonna hang up. I think Travis Kelce is gonna hang up his cleats. Listen. Travis Kelce flies private because he's Travis Kelce. Taylor Swift has a private plane because she can't fly no other way. Right? There's a huge difference. And Travis Kelce going to hoist up another Lombardi trophy. They're going to go back to back, and he will solidify himself as the greatest tight end of all time. I love Gronk. I never thought I would see somebody out. Travis Kelce and company are going to win another Lombardi. Shout out to them. Listen, shout out to them Chiefs getting it done because, like I say, they went from Tony Gonzalez to Travis Kelce. God, that's some crazy. So, gonna be a good game, but I think the Chiefs gonna take it.
Franz, your ball.
4-0. 4 Gators on the Chiefs. No Gators on the Niners. Chiefs.
And Jawan Taylor, man, look, I know you lost your grandmother, man. My condolences go out to you. I know that's a lot on your mind right now, but I'm happy for you going from Jacksonville, getting your money, going out to Kansas City. I know that's going to be, but like I said, and I do hope Kadarius Toney get to go out there with Townsend and Tony, but I hope Kadarius Toney get to play on Sunday. We said this too, Loren. Kadarius Toney did what any respectful professional would do. You say some dumb stuff you shouldn't have said, and then you come back and say, I got hacked. That's what you're supposed to do, Kadarius. You got hacked because I want to play in the Super Bowl. There you go. It wasn't me. It just sounded like it was AI.
Well, let me throw one quick thing in because of what Ben just said. There was a guy named Marvin Bad News Barnes who was a great All-American basketball player at Providence. And this is a true story. He goes in there before his sophomore year at Providence to rob a convenience store, and he's wearing his Providence leather jacket that has Marvin stitched across the front of it. The convenience store clerk says, Marvin, you don't have to do this. And his answer, was caught on video, I ain't me, I'm somebody else.
You're gonna believe your eyes. You're gonna believe something. I guess Brock Purdy. One quick comment was asked. He of course grew up in Arizona. Did you like Arizona State or Arizona? He said either one. I was a Florida Gator fan. I love Tim Tebow. How about that?
Yeah, he did. Listen. He did. We are a global brand. We are known everywhere. And he said he grew up a Tim Tebow fan, a Florida Gator fan. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, they comparing Lagway and Mertz, to Leak and Tebow? I'm just saying. I like the comparison.
I want you guys to know that Bruce Green says, stop complaining about Billy Napier coaching. It's getting a bit ridiculous, guys. Okay. We're going to say this, butterflies and nice things. And Billy's sweet, and we like him. We don't complain. We're all good. We love the Gators, and let's leave it at that.
The beauty of the Buddy Martin, though, everything is supported by good sports writing and facts and people that played and coached the game. So nobody's complaining. We're presenting things that actually happened, were said, and then we react to them. That's the beauty of the Buddy Martin show, is you got the real deal going on.
Well, here's the real deal. We ain't us. We somebody else. So we are.
That's some other guys doing all that. That ain't us. All right, guys, you take care. I'll be talking to you from up on the Bay next week, back in Northwest Florida, and we'll be doing this again. Good show tonight. Love you guys. I think we lost Ben already. He went to bed.
But let me throw one more thing out there. When you talk about the magnitude of Taylor Swift, so she has a concert, I think, Saturday, which is like Saturday morning here. The Japanese government is in charge of making sure she makes it to the Super Bowl. Not the concert promoters, not the Japanese government has said she will make it for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's really important, I'd say so.
I've never listened to one of her songs.
In charge of Travis Kelce, too. So.
I've never listened to one of her songs.
You got to get with the times, Franz. You got to get with the times. Tell him, buddy.
Pat Metheny. Try listening to the Pat Metheny group sometime.
Good night, Francis. Good night. Good night, Coach Meadows. Good night, guys. All right, folks. I want to just end this off today this week saying, hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. I have not made a pick. I hope the Chiefs to win. I don't have a number. And I think the color of the Gatorade will be red this year. All right. So let me tell you about my friends at Red Star Medical Research, to some fine folks that support our community, support this program, and are really great people to have in our community, our neighborhood, because they look after us, they look after our health. They're constantly having these clinical research trials so we can find out better ways to treat us. And that information goes, of course, to top-notch pharmaceutical biomedical companies. And they have these cutting-edge clinical research trials in Ocala for things like Alzheimer's, dementia, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, fibromyalgia. And, of course, you can join in some of those if you'd like to. Go to redstar.net to find out how, and perhaps you can be compensated for time and travel. Red Star Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. And we're back coming to you from up on the Bay in Northwest Florida next week. Meanwhile, have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed the show.